Well, I think it begins with having a conversation with the community and being brave enough to have conversations with the body of, first of all, what needs to be present for someone to offend, and then having a really strong understanding of what sort of safeguards or protections are we putting around our vulnerable people, in this case, our youth. I give an example before I talk about the perpetrator. One of the examples is if it's part of your covenant of relationship for the ministry of young people that you have two adults, perhaps a male adult and a female adult in a room of young kids with a ratio understanding of who you're supervising and how many you're supervising. When Simon walks by that education wing and sees a classroom with one adult, knows that that's a breach in the relationship of how we've decided that we're going to educate our young people or our vulnerable. Creating barriers and understanding. Now, the perpetrator is going to want to understand what the contextual norm is. What is the norm of operations for care of the youth, and education of the youth, or the ministry of the youth? And that person is going to want to test and push those boundaries, all right? So, for example, the perpetrator is going to want to push the envelope of whether or not he can be found or she can be found alone with, or alone in a room, or in a ministry environment without another person. And see if somebody is going to say, hey, you know, Simon, in our faith community, we make sure that we have two people when we're ministering to young people. That's like an example. They don't want to get caught. A perpetrator doesn't want to get caught, so they're going to work really hard to figure out how they're not going to get caught.